The story of neighbors who performed penance.
Two neighbors in a village used to compete and compare with each other to progress materially. Hence, both started doing penance sitting under a tree in a forest. On being pleased by their penance, God appeared before one of them and said, "What is your desire? I will fulfill the same." The person replied, "Give me 2 times more of that which you are going to give my neighbor." Then God approached his neighbor and asked, "What do you want?" The neighbor asked God, "What did my neighbor ask for?" God replied, "He asked me to bestow him with the double-fold amount of whatever you will ask for." Then he replied, "Please take away one of my eyes." God did accordingly. Then God approached the other person and said, "Your friend asked me to remove one of his eyes. As you wanted to get double-fold times of whatever your friend got, I am removing both of your eyes. Therefore do not compare with anyone. Be as you are."
Moral of the story: when we compare ourselves with others, we will get ruined despite doing penance or performing spiritual practices. Our spiritual practices should purify our hearts.
The story of wish-fulfilling tree.
Once, a person performed penance to attain the wish-fulfilling tree. He thought, "Until and unless I perform an intense penance for at least 5 years, giving up food and living merely on air and water, I cannot attain the wish-fulfilling tree." Having such prejudices is very dangerous. God bestowed him with a wish-fulfilling tree within 5 minutes when he started his penance. But he thought that at least 5 years of penance is required to attain the wish-fulfilling tree. Having earned it within 5 minutes, he threw it out. Though God says he would like to bestow us with self-knowledge here and now, we are not ready to accept the same.
Moral of the story: get rid of your preconceived notions.
The story of the householder devotee.
Once, sage Narada approached Lord Vishnu and asked him, "Who is the greatest devotee on this earth?" Lord Vishnu pointed him towards a farmer on the earth. Sage Narada could not understand how a farmer could be greater than him, who always contemplated upon Lord Narayana. Sage Narada wanted to examine the farmer, and so reached the earth. He observed the farmer's routine. The farmer got up early in the morning, chanted the name of Lord Narayana thrice, and started with his daily work. He had a very hectic schedule and always shouted at his workers. However, he once again chanted the name of Lord Narayana thrice before going to bed. Sage Narada observed all this and went to Lord Narayana. He said, "O Lord, how can you call the farmer the greatest devotee? He did not perform any special spiritual practices. He merely chanted your name after waking up and before sleeping." The Lord said, "I will answer your question once you complete the following task. Carry this bowl of oil on your head and rotate around the earth, ensuring that the oil does not spill out onto the ground." Narada started on his journey. He carefully rotated around the earth, ensuring the oil did not spill onto the ground. When he returned and narrated his accomplishment of the assigned task, the Lord asked him, "How many times did you chant my name?" Sage Narada could not reply. Then the Lord said, "You were assigned only a single task, yet you could not remember me. The farmer has several tasks to perform, and still, he remembers me amid such a hectic schedule. Don't you think the farmer is the greatest devotee? Sage Narada agreed with Lord Narayana.
Moral of the story: it is enough if the householder devotees perform their duty appropriately and utilize their leisure time to contemplate God.
The story of a farmer and a devil.
Once, a devil approached a farmer and said, "I will serve you. But I have a condition that you must assign me some or the other work without keeping me idle. If you cannot assign me any work, I will swallow off you." The farmer thought he could get several works done through the devil and allowed it to serve him. However, the devil finished its task within no time, whatever task the farmer assigned. How can the farmer find work for the devil forever? But if he doesn't assign any work to the devil, it will swallow off the farmer. Not knowing what to do in such a situation, the farmer approached a preceptor. On the advice of his preceptor, the farmer asked the devil to climb up a palm tree and again climb down the same. He asked it to continue this activity until asked to stop. Then the devil got engaged in this task and stopped troubling the farmer.
Moral of the story: our mind resembles the devil. If we don't assign it an appropriate task like the contemplation of God, it will swallow us by contemplating upon sensory objects.
The story of a devotee who sold milk.
There lived a devotee who made his livelihood by selling milk. However, he habitually mixed a glass of water for every glass of milk. Once, he performed penance. Being pleased with his penance, Lord Krishna appeared before him and wanted to grant him a boon. The devotee said, "O Lord, please grant me an ocean of milk." The Lord said, "All right, I grant you the same." The devotee again asked the Lord, "O Lord, please grant me one more boon." The Lord said, "What is it?" The devotee replied, "Please grant me an ocean of water." When the Lord asked the reason for the same, the devotee replied, "I mix a glass of water for every glass of milk. Hence I need an ocean of water to sell an ocean of milk." Such is the force of our habits.
Moral of the story: old habits die hard. The force of our habits is tremendous. It can be reduced only by the grace of God.
The story of the humble Mahatma.
There used to be a Mahatma who always bowed down first and then carried down any work. For instance, if devotees approached him for a fruit, he would bow down to them and then give them a fruit. One of the devotees asked the Mahatma the reason why he bowed down. The Mahatma replied, "God has given me this fruit, which I am giving you. However, you are thinking that I have given you the fruit. Being ashamed of this, I am bowing down my head."
Moral of the story: spiritual evolution can be attained only through humility.
The story of lamp.
Once, when the sun god started setting, he said, "I spread the light in this entire universe. Is there anyone who can carry on my job till I come back in the morning?" Initially, the sun god did not find any substitute. In the end, a lamp came forward and said, "Though I cannot spread light in the entire universe, I will carry on the work you have been doing. I can spread light only to the 3 to 4 people near me. Though I cannot give light to the entire universe, I will carry on the work that you have been doing till you come back the next morning."
Moral of the story: though we cannot entirely perform the work carried on by God, We must try to facilitate his work as far as possible according to our capacity.
The story of a good Samaritan who reached hell after his death.
A German author wrote a story. Once there lived a good Samaritan who did many good deeds and expected that he would reach heaven after his death. However, he reached hell after his death. When he quoted his good deeds and questioned God asking for the reason, God replied, "The fruit of all your good deeds got exhausted on the earth itself when you were alive, as and when you enjoyed the praise or clapping of others."
Moral of the story: if you desire recognition from people, you will not get God's recognition. Therefore, work for the sake of work and not for people's recognition.
The story of the disciple who chanted, "I am Brahman."
There lived a disciple who always said, "I am Brahman. I am Brahman." He misused this principle in all his day-to-day activities. For instance, he overate and claimed that the body ate, not he, as he is Brahman. Once, his guru happened to hear about his hypocrisy. He called his disciple and asked him what he preached. The disciple replied, "I am Brahman. I am Brahman." The guru then asked the disciple, "Do you know what is meant by Brahman?" The disciple replied, "Brahman is that which cannot be burned by fire, which cannot be drenched by water, and which cannot be touched by the air." The guru called the other disciples and told them thus while referring to this disciple, "This fellow says that he is Brahman, and when asked what is meant by Brahman, he replies that Brahman cannot be burnt by fire. Therefore lighten a fire and throw him into the fire." The disciple trembled with fear and said thus, "Forgive me, sir. I was mechanically repeating the words that I learned from the scriptures. I will not utter that I am Brahman without attaining the experience of Brahman." Saying so, the disciple ran for his life.
Moral of the story: experiencing Brahman differs from declaring that I am Brahman. Advaita is forbidden in our day-to-day activities.
The story of two thieves.
Once, two friends visited a garden to eat fruits. One of the friends ate the fruits. However, the other friend did not eat any fruit but started thinking thus: "When was this tree sown? How many branches does it have? Who would have sown this tree?" etc. Suddenly the owner of the garden arrived there. Upon seeing the owner, the friend who ate the fruits fled. He enjoyed the fruits to his heart's content and escaped from the owner. However, as the other friend was involved in a deep thought, he did not see the garden owner and hence was caught by the owner. Moreover, he did not even enjoy eating fruits.
Moral of the story: our goal is truth realization. We will undoubtedly miss our goal if we get into too much logic. If we merely quote from the scriptures without experiencing the truth, we will get caught in the vicious circle of births and deaths.
The story of the son who was unaware of the whereabouts of his inheritance.
Once, there lived a rich man who had a son. As the father grew old, the son wanted the father to hand over his entire wealth to him. The father knew that his son would misuse the wealth and thereby lose the same. Hence, he did not hand over his whole wealth to his son. Instead, he concealed some of his wealth in a secret place and handed over only a part of his wealth to his son. After his son left, the father called one of his friends and said, "I have hidden the remaining wealth in the backyard. If I am not alive, when my son returns with repentance of losing the wealth, reveal him the place of hiding." The friend consented to the same. One day, the son returned with great repentance of losing the entire wealth. However, when he returned, his father was on his deathbed and unable to speak. On seeing his son's repentance, the father tried to tell the son of the hidden wealth but unfortunately died even before telling. After the father's death, the son suffered from acute poverty. He could not even make both ends meet. One day, the father's friend, who was aware of the hidden wealth, happened to see the son of his friend suffering from acute poverty. He then revealed the secret that the wealth was hidden in the backyard. The son lamented over his ignorance of the hidden wealth. He said, "Despite possessing wealth in the very backyard of the house, I have suffered from acute poverty all these days. How unfortunate it is. Likewise, though the truth is very much within our hearts, we are experiencing sorrow due to ignorance." Though the son became aware that the hidden wealth exists in the backyard, he cannot enjoy it if he did not dig it out. Similarly, though we know that the truth exists within our hearts, we cannot experience the same until we make the required effort.
Moral of the story: though the truth is very much within our hearts, we are experiencing sorrow due to ignorance.
The story of the king and the minister.
There was a king with a minister who always said, "Whatever happens is all for our good." Once, the king cut his thumb accidentally. On seeing it, the minister said, "Whatever happens is all for our good." The king became furious and immediately ordered the minister to be imprisoned. The next day the king went into the forest to hunt. Unfortunately, he got trapped by the tribals who wanted to sacrifice him as an offering to their deity. However, when they saw the missing thumb of the king, they released him as only a completely healthy person was eligible for being offered as a sacrifice to their deity. The king returned and apologized to the minister after narrating the incident. The king said, "I apologize for having imprisoned you. As you have said, whatever happens is only for our good. Only my broken thumb saved my life." The minister replied, "O king, you need not apologize. Had you not imprisoned me, I would have accompanied you to the forest and become the victim. Considering you to be ineligible, the tribals would have sacrificed me instead. Therefore, whatever happens is all for our good. Your punishing me is also all for my good."
Moral of the story: whatever happens is all for our good.